If you collapsed in the heart of the wild, surrounded by lions, do you think they would spare you or see you as their next meal? Watch this unbelievable story and tell us what you think in the comments. The African sun hung high in the sky, its relentless heat pressing down on the vast savanna. Daniel, a seasoned ranger, wiped the sweat from his brow as he moved cautiously through the dry grass, scanning for any sign of poachers. Reports had come in about illegal traps being set deep within the reserve, endangering the lions he had sworn to protect. His rifle was slung across his back, but he hoped he wouldn't have to use it. As he walked, he noticed faint footprints, human, not animal, leading toward a cluster of trees in the distance. His pulse quickened. Poachers were close, but the heat was taking its toll. Each step felt heavier, his throat parched from dehydration. His radio crackled, but then went silent, no signal. Still, he pressed on, determined to find the traps before nightfall. He had no idea that his body was nearing its limit. The mission was dangerous, but he had faced worse until now. The relentless sun beat down on Daniel's back as he pushed forward through the tall, dry grass. His canteen was nearly empty, and every breath felt like he was inhaling fire. He had been walking for hours, tracking signs of poachers, but the brutal heat was sapping his strength. His boots felt heavier with each step, his vision slightly blurred from dehydration. He wiped the sweat from his brow and glanced at his radio. It was silent, no signal. He was completely alone. Then up ahead, he spotted something. A rusted wire snare hanging from a tree branch, the kind used to trap lions. His heart pounded. The poachers had been here recently. He crouched to examine the ground, searching for fresh tracks, but a wave of dizziness hit him. His knees buckled, his head spun. He needed to turn back. Just as he made the decision to retreat, his body gave out. He collapsed beneath the shade of an acacia tree, his breath shallow, his limbs too weak to move. His vision faded to black as unconsciousness overtook him, leaving him vulnerable in the heart of the wild. A deep, guttural growl rumbled through, the silence pulling Daniel from the depths of unconsciousness. His body felt heavy, his throat unbearably dry, but instinct forced his eyes open. Blurred shapes moved around him, golden in the fading sunlight. His sluggish mind struggled to process the sight before him. A massive lion stood just feet away, its amber eyes locked onto him. Beside it, a lioness watched cautiously, her muscles tense while a small cub peeked from behind her legs. Fear jolted through Daniel, but his body refused to move. He was defenseless. If the lions chose to attack, he wouldn't stand a chance. He braced for the inevitable, for sharp claws or crushing jaws, but none came. The lion, a towering male with a thick, dark mane, stepped closer, sniffing the air before letting out a soft huff. The lioness did the same, then sat down beside her cub, as if settling in for the night. They weren't hunting him. They were watching him, guarding him. Confusion swirled in Daniel's mind, but exhaustion won again, as his body sank deeper into the dry earth. He realized something incredible. The lions weren't his enemies. They were his protectors. Daniel's mind drifted in and out of consciousness, but in the haze of his exhaustion, a memory surfaced, one from years ago, deep in this very reserve. He had been younger then, newly stationed when he heard the desperate cries of a trapped lion cub. Racing toward the sound, he found a tiny, terrified cub ensnared in a poacher's wire trap. The mother, a powerful lioness, paced nearby, her anguished roars filling the air. Daniel knew the risk, but he couldn't leave the cub to die. Slowly, carefully, he approached, keeping his rifle slung over his back, hands raised to show he meant no harm. The lioness growled, but did not charge. Kneeling, Daniel worked quickly, his knife sawing through the brutal wire. The moment the cub was free, it stumbled back toward its mother, who nuzzled it protectively before turning her gaze to him. It was not a look of threat, but of understanding. That memory now burned in his mind as he lay weak beneath the acacia tree. Could it be the massive lion standing over him, watching him now? Was it that same cub all grown up? A bond, long forgotten, had not been broken. Instead, it had come full circle. The afternoon sun cast long golden rays across the savanna, the air thick with heat and the hum of distant insects. Daniel remained motionless beneath the acacia tree, his body weak, yet his mind sharpened by the presence of the lions. The massive male, Kano, sat a few feet away, his golden eyes gleaming in the fading daylight. The lioness and her cub nestled close to him, their bodies relaxed, yet their ears flicked at every distant sound. They were standing guard. A pair of hyenas prowled at the edge of the clearing, their eerie giggles breaking the stillness. Normally, Daniel would reach for his rifle, but he had no strength, no way to defend himself. He didn't have to. Kano lifted. His head let out a deep, resonant growl, and in an instant the hyenas slunk away. It was then that Daniel understood. He was not just being observed, he was being protected. Whether it was instinct, recognition, or something deeper, these lions had chosen not to harm him, but to shield him. His fate was no longer in his own hands. He was at the mercy of the wild, yet safer than ever before. With that realization, exhaustion claimed him once more, and he drifted into an uneasy sleep. As the sun rose over the savanna, a growing sense of unease spread through the ranger station. Daniel was missing. He hadn't checked in, and every second that passed increased the danger he might be in. His fellow rangers, led by his closest friend Mark, quickly prepared for a search. They knew the risks: poachers, dehydration, or even a predator attack. Armed with rifles and tracking dogs, they followed his trail, scanning the dry grasslands for any sign of him. Hours passed, the brutal heat bearing down on them, when suddenly, one of the rangers spotted something, a footprint, then another, leading toward an acacia tree. They rushed forward, only to stop in shock. A pride of lions was gathered near the tree, watching them. Mark's grip tightened on his rifle. Had they found Daniel first? Was he even alive? But then, to his astonishment, the massive male lion, Kano, simply turned his head toward the tree, almost as if showing them the way. Mark's heart pounded as he knelt beside Daniel, his fingers pressing against his friend's neck. A pulse, weak but steady, relief surged through him. "He's alive," he shouted to the team. The Rangers moved quickly, preparing to lift Daniel onto a stretcher, but Mark couldn't ignore the weight of Kano's gaze. The massive lion stood just a few feet away, unmoving, watching. The rest of the pride lingered nearby, their golden eyes glowing in the morning light. Not a single lion showed aggression, only quiet observation. As the Rangers carefully hoisted Daniel, Kano took a slow step forward, his deep, rumbling breath vibrating through the air. Mark froze. Was the lion going to stop them? But then something incredible happened. Kano let out a low, resonant huff, almost like a sigh before stepping aside. The message was clear. Go. The lions had protected Daniel through the night, but now they were letting him go. As the Rangers carried him toward the vehicle, Mark glanced, back one last time. Kano stood tall, watching them leave. A silent guardian, a protector of an unspoken bond that would never be forgotten. Daniel stirred as the hum of an engine, and the murmur of voices pulled him from the fog of unconsciousness. His body ached, his throat dry as sand, but he was alive. He was safe. Blinking against the bright morning light, he saw Mark's relieved face hovering over him in the back of the rescue vehicle. "We thought we lost you," Mark said, his voice thick with emotion. Flashes of the night before came rushing back, the unbearable heat collapsing under the acacia tree, and then the lions. Daniel's breath hitched. "The lions, they didn't hurt me," he murmured, his voice barely audible. Mark exchanged a look with the other Rangers. "They protected you." Daniel's mind swam with disbelief and gratitude. Whatever had happened out there, one thing was certain. He had survived, not despite the lions, but because of them. Weeks later, Daniel returned to patrol and found Kano watching him from distance. The massive lion stood on a rocky outcrop, his golden mane catching the wind. Their eyes met, not as enemies, not as strangers, but as two beings who shared an unspoken bond. Daniel's journey into the wild began as a mission to protect, but in the end, it was the lions who protected him. In that moment, fear turned to trust and a bond was formed, one that would never be forgotten. Nature has a way of surprising us, reminding us of the deep connections that exist between humans and animals. If you enjoyed this incredible story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful tales of survival, compassion, and the beauty of the wild. Stay tuned for more unforgettable adventures.